For those who don't know, TLSS is a relatively new football boot brand out of China, and a lot of their boots are actually made in Japan. Insane levels of quality, insane levels of technology as well. And I'm so excited to bring you 3 different pairs of football boots from TLSS. And we're gonna start today with the Tactician Goat Turf. So the Tactician Goat comes in a TLSS branded box. Now, TLSS, as I said, was a brand started in 2017 in Chengdu. Apologies for the mispronunciation if I got that totally screwed up. But they've got 4 models that released actually in 2024. Recently, or in the past, I guess, they were part of more of the logistics of football boot apparel and branding. Here's the Tactician Goat with the 43 euro, UK 8.5, and a 27.5 centimeters or a US 9.5. So that's kind of from the sizing perspective, usually going up half a size with the TLSS boots actually works out really, really well, according to a friend of mine who were able to send these out to me. So the 4 models were the Tactician Gao, the Tactician Goat, the Libero, and the Striker. We'll talk about each one of those in their respective videos. Really quick as well, we've got the Tactician, the Libero, the Sweeper, and the Striker. The Sweeper is a boot that I think has come out so far, maybe since the recording of this video, I'm not sure. Tech and innovation create better performance for pros and non-pros. And then it says that in a couple different languages as well. So very, very cool, very nice unboxing experience. And I am very, very excited. I've heard some amazing things about them. So here we go. Oh, yes. Oh, my days. Oh, look at those. Holy moly. The quality. Oh, my days, guys. Look at that carbon. Look at that carbon plate down there. Oh, my days. Okay, so believe it or not, this boot is outrageously packed with technology. And we'll go over that in just a sec. Let me get these unboxed really quick. So get this out of the way. And they actually have a really cool little tag, which has got the little made in Japan with, this is actually, that's so cool. So this little boot thing is actually a piece of KaRVO, I think. Yep. And it says made in Japan on it, which is awesome. And then you have the TLSS there, and it's got a little information thing. There's your KaRVO logoing as well. And the Tempur, made in Japan. So Tempur is actually a mattress brand, and Tempur supplies some of the padding on the inside. So yes, this boot actually has mattress technology for padding. And then the Tempur actually might be made in Denmark. I think the Tempur is a Danish brand. So yeah, lots of really cool stuff going on here. But let's get this guy off. Okay, perfect. And then we'll throw this one down and talk a little bit about TLSS and the Tactician Goat in Turf. Now, as I said before, 2017, they started as more of a logistics brand, and then they came out with their first pair of boots last year. And the fact that this is their first pair of football boots, along with the FG model, of course, and some of the other ones, is remarkable. So this is a full K-leather upper, believe it or not. This entire upper is K-leather. You obviously have the TLSS logo here on the lateral side, which is all synthetic. It'll give you a little bit of lockdown in that lateral side of the midfoot. And then here in the medial side of the midfoot, you have the KaRVO and, the Tempur padding. So this whole area is basically a little bit of extra padding so that when you're passing the ball, it just feels absolutely excellent. Reminds me a lot of something like a Magista, reminds me a lot of the CTR series with sort of that little pass pad, if you will, or even Tiempo Legend 9 Elite, which is really cool as well. A lot of Chinese Super League players wear these. Some of the J League players wear these as well in FG, obviously. And the Tactician series is meant for more of that control boot, first touch, etc., which you can see from the general construction and layout. Not too dissimilar to the Morelia Neo 4 Beta. So a very similar construction. Obviously, it would be more of the non-beta model, but you get the idea, right? Very, very similar there. So the Tempur insert is that mattress company. I'm pretty sure they just signed David Beckham actually as well to a licensing deal. So he does a lot of the marketing for them, which is kind of cool. And then believe it or not, so this boot is obviously a turf model. It's got carbon fiber and a pour-on removable outsole and a full-length KaRVO insert on the inside. So these boots for a turf model are outrageously snappy and comfortable. And then you also have basically their version of the Boost technology or whatever, basically like the really nice foam in the heel area, so to provide some extra little squish and stuff. And then this is a really nice suede material on the TLSS pour-on removable outsole, which is so sick. These boots are just absolutely packed with technology, right? You've got KaRVO, carbon fiber, full K leather, padding here. I mean, these are chalking up to be probably one of the best football boots of the year, in my opinion. The fact that they've got so much tech packed into them as a first-time boot manufacturer is very, very cool. They've also got the little bit of reinforcement here on the toe area of the leather to give it a little bit more durability, hopefully, in that toe box area when you're playing on AG surfaces, which of course, AG and turf, this is what those are meant for. And then from a stud pattern perspective, pretty standard as far as a turf model goes. Sometimes you get boots like the Wave Cup Sala or Morelia Sala from Mizuno that have more of the sort of bladed, or I guess, how would you say, arced studs, more of squared off studs. But this is very, very standard. Some little circular dots, maybe some plus signs, and then some triangles. Like it's pretty standard. You're not going to find that these are going to be necessarily more or less grippy than the normal one, whereas something like those Mizunos do have a little bit more bite just because it is designed that way. So this is one of the coolest turf models I think I've ever actually held in my hand. The quality in hand is ridiculous. The amount of micro suede and all the little touches they've made to the upper, the weight is not bad for a turf model. The fact that they've put KaRVO and carbon fiber in here is insane. So I am really, really excited to test these out on pitch. I reckon maybe I'll go film the play test in Ultra's little cage, because I think that's exactly what these are meant for. They're sort of meant for that cage football or street, more like turf street football, as opposed to actual big-sided games, if you will. So TLSS, for a first go around, these are absolutely insane. So let's jump into the playtest. All right, guys, welcome back to the pitch. I've got the Tactician in turf. This is obviously an ideal scenario to wear these on, just because these are obviously a turf model. You could wear them on more of like a carpet type Astro, which is going to be a lot harder and not as sort of bouncy as this one, but that's going to be up to you guys at the end of the day. We'll get these on feet, but they look really nice here in this white and red colorway, and I'll get them on feet as well straight away. If you guys are interested in a pair of the best grip socks on the market, I would highly recommend the midfoot grip socks that I'm wearing. I'll leave a 20% discount code in the description box below for you guys, and you can pick them up. Yeah, nice. So on feet, they fit pretty similar to the firm ground model. I'd say that these fit a little more snug, I would say. That's not necessarily an issue to go true to size with both models, just because it is an all leather model, so you are going to get quite a bit of stretch throughout the entirety of the upper. Now, I'm not using the runner's knot either right now, just because I don't really need to, but eventually, as this boot does break in, despite it being pretty low profile, I don't know, I may or may not use it eventually. These are one of these, God, this other side is really small. Come on. Oh, there we go. So there is that extra lace hole right there. I don't think I'll need it, just because this is a turf model and I don't feel like I'm going to be playing in them often enough to warrant, like, I don't know how you would say. yeah, they're not going to be like, I'll use them for, I think, a lot of my indoor, a lot of my playing around at the ultra indoor court pitch, that type of stuff. But there isn't, for instance, like back home in the US in Seattle, well, Melbourne's my home, but this back home in Seattle where I grew up, there is what's called arena soccer, and Arena Sports is basically a big brand that they have like indoor arenas. It's basically a hockey rink, but with like a carpeted AstroTurf. And so what you have is you have these awesome like 6-a-side games where you can play up against the walls, which is super fun. And this would be a boot that I would wear basically throughout any one of those like tournaments or games, because these are kind of perfect for that, where you really get like the ball rolling, you get skills going. But hey, first ladder set, these feel really good. And especially for players who are either getting older or players who who play on a pitch like this, but may not want a firm ground or even as aggressive as an all ground model, or excuse me, an artificial ground model, I would highly recommend something like this, because you're gonna get a really nice sort of running shoe foam feel under the heel area, because it's very, very nice, but then you still get that responsiveness and the springiness from the carbon plate that sits in the midfoot. So overall, really impressed already. And I think TLSS is going to be releasing their boots internationally at some point in the very soon future. So that is something to keep tabs on. I would go and follow them on Instagram, because they're gonna have a lot of that information on their website. Ball got a little bit away from me. This is one of those scenarios where I love playing on a turf. Like this is a pitch that I usually play with FG or AG, but to have a turf model that sits, you sit a lot lower to the ground in a lot of places. Obviously, this type of movement is incredible because that's what they're built for. And especially when it's a little wet, it feels like the boots just kind of are part of your feet, and it's just so smooth. And this leather is really good quality. So this is probably, I don't know if this is probably too soon to tell yet, but later on I want to kind of compare these to the Morelia Solo, which in my opinion is kind of the gold standard for turf models. I think as well, players get so caught up in wearing FG, wearing AG, and they want the thing that looks the coolest. But I had players in my last season in America at Flower City who I played against, who wore turf models. Like we had a guy, there was a really good winger who I actually marked for the majority of the games against De Leon. It was what are they called? Something Club De Leon out of Florida. And this guy wore Vapor turfs. And I was like, he was older, he was early 30s, but he was super techie, and he wore turfs. I'll see if I can find a photo and have Kelvin put it up on screen, but it was very, it was cool, because I was like, oh dude, clearly this guy cares about his joint health. Because honestly, for the majority of players, if you're not a pro player, any player above like 30 to 35 years old, I would suggest something like this. I would suggest something where you're gonna be comfortable, you're gonna have the underfoot support, you're really gonna be able to move really well, you're not gonna get stuck, right? Like this type of, especially one like this is actually more neutral than the Morelia Sala because of the circular rubber studs. Like, I can pirouette, bloody hell, right? Like, this is super forgiving. And so I think for a lot of the older cohort watching this, this is actually probably better for you even than the regular firm ground model. All right, so a little warm up here for the shooting, and all I'm just gonna do is just bounce this off the wall and then try to hit that bottom corner, maybe top corner, we'll see, but most likely bottom corner. I really wanna test out. So right here in the instep, you'll have noticed in the unboxing portion of the video, there's some texturing in there and also some nice, bingo, that's exactly the ball I'm looking for. You'll notice there's some texture and there's the Tempur mattress company that has created this really beautifully, the tech from there is used in, is used in the instep, which is really nice. And what that does is it creates a super comfortable and kind of plush, yeah, very, like as you're passing it, you've got a little bit of grip and just that perfect amount of, a little bit of bend if you want it, and a little bit of extra texturing, but also this like very comfortable, like pingy sensation, which just feels fantastic when you're doing just kind of finishing drills like this, where you're not trying to beat the crap out of it, but you're just trying to kind of pass it or finesse it into a corner. Super nice. And I think the main point of this review not only is to like test the boots out, which already, by the way, fantastic, no complaints. Absolutely money in terms of comfort, performance. It's pretty cold outside. That's why I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but it's pretty chilly outside. So my feet are a little bit, I don't know, numb. Numb isn't the right word necessarily, but definitely pretty cold. So I'm not getting a ton of feel, just generally speaking, which is probably not a good thing. But no, like inside the boots though, you can really tell that they've put a lot of care. Nice, that's exactly what I'm looking for. You can tell that they put a lot of care into the shape and the construction, and they've taken pieces and parts of boots that are already like a proven concept, so to speak, and just made it ever so slightly better, right? You take everything that was really good about the Neo Turf model, Morelia Neo Turf model, which isn't available in America, unfortunately, and then you put a carbon fiber sole plate and you put some really nice kind of texturing where you're hitting the pass. That's all you need. That's all, and a better heel area. Goodness. Right, getting into a little bit more aggressive in terms of the coming out of here, pass against the wall, big touch here, maybe a cut and a left foot or a right foot smash. Either way, a right foot smash. Oh geez, I crack myself up sometimes. It's not very, well, it is kind of early in the morning, so forgive me. We're gonna deal with it. Nice. Man, the connection you get with these boots, like, and I would say these Tactician and the Tactician Firm Ground. Let's actually move this a little bit that way. I want this ball coming kind of straight back at me. I think the ball connection that you get with this model is so fantastic. The leather feels premium and it feels very, very comfortable straight out of the box. Oh, molds pretty much straight away. Like I have absolute, other than my toes being freaking numb because it's cold outside, like I don't have any issues. No pain points. The heel area is absolutely fantastic. I honestly think these are on, oh, I was trying to slice that. I think these are on par with Asics in terms of heel. Sounds crazy, I know, but this heel area, oh my God, the suede, the micro suede, and you can see, I'll come up to the close-up shot. You can see how nicely it just wraps around and there's no extra BS space. And the heel is just, you know, as I raise, the heel's not going anywhere. It's really, really locked in, but it doesn't feel kind of grossly, I don't know, it doesn't feel super tight. Like I think compare this to like an Alpha 2. The Alpha 2, the heel area is super, super thin. It's really narrow, which I love, but not a lot of people, I think people will have some struggles with it. Whereas these ones, similar to a lot of the Asics boots, DS Lite X Fly Pro 3, DS Lite X Fly 5, are so neutral and they just feel excellent, excellent. All right, little gait action to a shot. Same idea here. Going through the gates. Ooh. That's a goalkeeper save, but you know what? We're getting there. The shape is all right. I need to move it sideways a little bit more. So, wrapping up, comparison potentially between my current favorite turf model and the Morelia Sala, or Wave Cup Sala, whichever one. They're kind of interchangeable because they feel the same. This one, the Tactician, has more underfoot cushion and is more responsive because of the carbon fiber plate. Oh no. Let's go one more. And so the crazy part is you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a boot that's more, more bouncy, more comfortable, but you're also getting that carbon fiber midsole. And so it's super springy. It feels like you're wearing, I wouldn't quite go as far as to say you're wearing like a super shoe, like a running shoe, but it's freaking super responsive. So I don't know. I think this might take the crown now as the best turf shoe on the market. Obviously, right now it's China only, but I think these might be better than Morelia, which is crazy, crazy. All right, some free kick action. Love these. I reckon this is gonna be very enjoyable. Upper right-hand corner, just one step up. Here we go. Oh, through the wall and into the back of the net. I love that. No, just kidding. I think these are great for striking. The touch is fantastic. That's probably, it's that and the interesting combination. Okay, so too high and too low. Let's try to get right in the middle. Fantastic combination of springiness with comfort underfoot while still having that lift off from the carbon. This is a remarkable piece of tech. Well, oh no. Let's go one more. Come on, I gotta get one. I'm trying to hit the piss out of it and I really shouldn't be doing that. It's not remarkable in the sense of like no brand could do it, right? I think there are certain brands who can do, Nike for instance, should do, they don't, but there are some, well, I would say maybe grip knit is something that is perhaps maybe a little bit more difficult. Okay, that's just not working for me today. Let's get to the, as always, crossbar challenge. So Nike is a brand that can do things like grip knit that other brands might find it challenging to do, particularly smaller brands who don't have access to the type of manufacturing volume and technology maybe, or just the ability to do it, or whatever it is, the budget to do the R&D for it and everything, for something like grip knit, right? Whereas that's what I mean by these aren't remarkable. Like this is something that any brand could theoretically put together in this package. We're gonna go left foot first, but it seems like nobody's doing it for some reason. And other than TLSS. And TLSS all of a sudden, for a young brand, ping, comes out and makes, okay, FG only, 4 models, 4 models, if you count the laceless one, that are really, really good and very tech forward. So is it a philosophy thing? Is it a manufacturing thing and they have the ability to manufacture these types of boots? Either way, we are reaping the benefits of it right now. So, wrapping up my thoughts, I think this is probably the best turf boot on the market right now. And I realize, yes, they're Japan only, or excuse me, they're China only right now. I know TLSS is really trying to grow into the market, which is gonna be pretty amazing. And I think I'm hyped about them because I think they're taking an approach to technology, and an approach to the shape of the football boot that is just better than a lot of other brands. You look at, you know, let's take, and I on them a lot, but like, let's take a brand like Puma. You take a brand like TLSS with this fantastic pair of turf boots, and like, I'd probably wear these over all 3 of Puma's top end silos. And that's kind of wild. Like, this is a turf model from a brand that hasn't existed for longer than a decade. And their stuff is just straight up better right now. And I think if brands were to go less down the hype train and more down the tech train, and more down the ergonomic shape, more down the train of like, hey, we're gonna create something that's just a really quality product, partner with the right people, put it all together in a way that really makes sense from a manufacturing perspective. I mean, TLSS is product leading, and that's gonna carry them so much further than any of these other brands. Because if they can get proper market share in America and in Europe, these guys are gonna blow up everybody else because they're doing things the right way. Sure, California, being stupid like it is, isn't gonna allow K-leather, which is a bummer because that takes out 2 of the models that they have on offer. The Tactician from a turf perspective and from an FG perspective. But outside of California, you're golden. And I would imagine that TLSS will break into California just because they can, not only with the Striker, but also with the Tactician boots through eBay and through other means where you can get them in. So yeah, man, I think these are excellent. These are easily, well, maybe not easily, but like, as far as I'm concerned, these are the best turf boots on the market in terms of feel, comfort. You've got really, really excellent tech in the insole. You have KaRVO, a full-length KaRVO, a midfoot carbon fiber shank. Like, this is not only by a landslide the highest tech turf model on offer, but it's also just the best because they didn't sacrifice shape and comfort just to put tech in, like I think a lot of brands are doing, a lot of the big brands are doing. And they went, how can we put all of this tech in one boot and still make it the most comfortable boot on the market? So very similar shape to Morelia Sala, similar sizing. So definitely go true to size and all that stuff, I believe. Let me make sure I'm saying that right, just so I don't screw you guys up. Oh, these are a 9.5 US, sorry. Go half a size up on the turf model. My bad. Kelvin, can you put asterisks on the rest of the times that I said true to size? So yeah, half a size up, and they fit really nicely on the tip of the toes. So, and they'll stretch and mold. They're already feeling buttery soft. Okay, I've talked too much. Love y'all. See y'all in the next video.